I'm Courtney Velasco with TATV. Here in studio, we have a very special guest tonight. Very excited to have Dan Reck, CEO of Toastmasters International, which is an international organization about to celebrate a huge milestone, 100th year anniversary. We are at Fairfax Public Access Studio, where primetime Toastmasters does meet. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Courtney. It's great to be here with you tonight and to talk about Toastmasters.
Well, let's dive in. Tell us, for someone that may be watching and does not have experience with Toastmasters, what is it?
Yeah, at its core, Toastmasters is a group of people that get together and practice communicating and practice leading. There's a meeting, someone leads the meeting, someone gives a presentation, someone else evaluates the presentation. There's a timer, there's someone who pays attention to your grammar. There are impromptu speaking questions. It's a full communication experience.
So it is a group of people that you were telling me earlier in hundreds of countries.
Yeah, about 145 countries right now. 13,000 different groups of people get together every 2 weeks to conduct a meeting. They're pretty much the same regardless of where you go in the world. They may be in a different language, but the experience has been very close to what it was 100 years ago.
So it's not just toasting champagne with each other.
No, there's more than that. There's more than that, though. That does happen.
So what I understand from Toastmasters, and I'm so excited to learn more, people do have a chance to hone in on leadership skills and enhance their communication, and they can really fine-tune their public speaking skills.
Yeah.
How did this all begin 100 years ago?
100 years ago, there was one person who had a dream, Ralph Smedley, who was with the YMCA in Santa Ana, California, and he decided to start a meeting. So he put an ad in the local newspaper and attracted 30, 40 people to come, and they began practicing presentations. That's how it all began.
And it just one thing led to another. Do you find it's mostly a community of professionals or people from all different walks?
It's really different. We all need to communicate, whether it's in our family, at work, if we're involved in community groups. But I would say probably 75% are actively engaged because of the work they do. So they're at a meeting that is held at their employer's location, or they're meeting with other professionals in a community location.
So I would love to hear about some success stories. I'm sure there are some amazing character arcs that you've seen from the time someone walks in the door afraid to stand up in front of a crowd of strangers to the time they leave and they are so self-assured. Is there anybody that comes to mind or any sort of story that you can highlight?
There's a story that I love, and I remember meeting this person who was working in the service industry, needed to have small talk conversations with clients and was unable to do it. And they came to our meeting and got asked an impromptu question and couldn't get out more than 3 or 4 words, and went back and sat in their seat. 2 weeks later, they tried it again, got out a little more. After a couple of more repetitions, they became really comfortable with the entire process, changed their life. And I remember having a conversation later, and he said to me, you know, this meeting, this group of people, they changed who I am for the better.
So it goes beyond just professional development.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, communication is in everyone's life from top to bottom, every day, all day long. Most of us can probably communicate better with our families.
And I would venture to say also building a community is really
100%.
an asset.
Yeah, the groups become really close, and new people come and people go regularly, but each group develops its own personality. So when you go and you try and attend one of these meetings, I'd suggest trying a couple of them just to see which one suits the way you want to approach your communication skill development.
So if someone, again, is maybe hearing about this for the first time, maybe had heard about it, didn't quite know what it was, and now their interest is piqued, and they want to go to a meeting. We have plenty here in the DC area, and internationally, no matter where you are. What's going to get them out of the car, out of the parking lot, and into that door? What advice do you have to give them?
Well, the first bit is you don't have to speak at your first meeting if you don't want to. You can just sit in the back and watch everyone else. But jump on our website, toastmasters.org, put your location in or wherever you'd like to go, and a list of meeting times will pop up. And just send an email. There's a place in there to register and put your name and information in. Somebody will be in touch and say, yeah, we'd love to have you at our next meeting, and go and check it out. You'll find a group of people who are incredibly supportive and positive and who want to help you through your journey of improvement.
And what chunk of time do you recommend someone allotting to these meetings?
The meetings are often 90 minutes a couple of times a month, but outside of that, you're going to need to spend an hour or two a month preparing. Usually it's not more than that, so the time commitment is not huge.
Well, it sounds like it's priceless.
It is an amazing thing. I've met tens of thousands of people who've been through the program, and the appreciation they have for the experience is just phenomenal. And I hear it again and again. Toastmasters changed my life. It gave me the confidence I needed to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is in their life that they wanted to do.
Well, and that brings us to your personal journey, and you've been with Toastmasters how long? 14 years?
35 years total.
35 years?
35 years total,
well, what brought you to Toastmasters?
So I went to a club meeting when I was in graduate school, and at that time I'd done a lot of teaching and a lot of speaking, and I wasn't afraid of it. And I went in and I went to a meeting and I thought, this is pretty good, but I didn't stick around. A few years later I decided to go in and try it. What I realized was I was speaking through my lack of skill because I had the confidence to do it. But I wasn't good at putting together a good presentation. I wasn't good at giving someone positive feedback. And it really changed the course of the way I ended up developing my own style of communicating and leading.
We were talking earlier about, 100 years. That is impressive. Yeah. Also quite a journey for the organization. Yeah. I imagine, things must have changed so much over the course of 100 years, even the way people talk and interact. Well, you've had a chance through this 100-year milestone to watch some of these old videos. What was the takeaway there?
It's quite fascinating to see how communication worked 30, 40, 50 years ago. Things were a lot more formal than they are now. And of course the hairstyles and the clothing, they were all a little bit different than what we have now as well. Communication has of course become technology focused, and we communicate through devices constantly. But the core pieces of communication, organizing your thoughts, listening, organizing a good question, those haven't changed. It's been the styles around it or the use of technology to accomplish it that's changed.
Do you find the demographics is changing over the years?
Not really. The demographics are pretty consistent. People, when they're very young and they're working on their education, typically don't realize yet how important communication is. So the sweet spot for Toastmasters tends to be 30 to 45, people who are building their careers, who are understanding that they need to be better communicators. And often their boss says, hey, you need to go to Toastmasters because you're not able to answer my questions in a staff meeting, or that last presentation you gave wasn't quite good enough.
And there are plenty of opportunities for someone to join just about everywhere.
Opportunities nearly everywhere in the world.
That's wonderful. What advice would you give to people who are interested in joining?
Take the first step. Take the first step and go to a meeting. If you know someone who's mentioned Toastmasters, talk to them about it. Go with them to one of their meetings, but just take that first step. It's not a commitment to walk through the door other than the 90 minutes and see how it feels to you.
Is there opportunity to do more than just speaking?
Absolutely. It's a very well-rounded experience. You'll evaluate someone's speech. That's a really interesting journey for people who aren't used to giving feedback, and people who aren't used to giving or receiving feedback. There are opportunities within each group to serve in leadership roles. So everyone comes in and contributes. They're part of the meeting, they're doing something. But there are those who give a little bit of extra effort. They get to organize and work on committees, learn how to lead the meetings, motivate people to do different pieces of the experience. So if you're not able to be a leader at work, but you want to experience that, you can probably find a place in Toastmasters to do that.
Well, it just sounds like a wonderful opportunity for anyone, just any walk of life. Wherever you are in your journey, you should definitely check out Toastmasters. So many locations to choose from. You can become a better communicator, leadership opportunities, and meet really great people. So thank you so much for sharing your experience, Dan.
Thanks, Courtney.